Yes, good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It is the first video of 2025. I want to wish you all a happy new year. I hope everybody had a great night last night. I hope the hangovers aren't too bad. We're here to look ahead to the derby at Ibrox tomorrow with the starting 11 prediction. If you want to see us talk about the game in a bit more detail, you can see that on the preview show that I did yesterday with Chris. I'll link it up here and at the end of the video. The objective is clear for the team. We all know what's at stake, the opportunity to move 17 points clear at the top of the table with a victory. We come into it in much better form than Rangers, much better shape than Rangers in terms of the health of the squad as well. And it's dead easy to get lulled into thinking that we're going to win this 3, 4, 5. And listen, we might end up doing that, but so often these games prove to be hard fought battles regardless of the situation going into the game. If you think about Brendan Rodgers' first season here, where we ended up completing an invincible treble, or 16 points clear going to Ibrox at New Year, and we had to come from behind. We ended up winning 2-1 on the day. We're deserved winners, but again, it wasn't an absolute hammering, and I think that could be the case tomorrow. But listen, let's hope we can get a fast start and we can take control of the game. And I really hope we do run out very comfortable winners on the day. As I say, Rangers are in dreadful form since the cup final, where it looked like their tails were up after that, and we dropped the points at Tannadice. They have absolutely capitulated, losing at St Mirren, drawing at Motherwell, having to come from 2-0 down. Clement under huge pressure, clinging on to his job. I think the fan base is really, really set against him now. I think he's got a mountain to climb, and I think for us that gives us the opportunity to start the game well, to turn the crowd against Rangers tomorrow. It's a home game for them, no Celtic fans in the stadium, but that can work against them. And I think our record going to Ibrox when there's been no Celtic fans there is pretty good. So we know that if we start the game well and Rangers go behind and we go in at half time in control, the crowd will become an issue for them. That did happen in the game towards the back end of last season. We were 2-0 up at half time, and it looked like we were going to go on and win really comfortably. But we took the foot off the gas second half, and Rangers came back into it. If we get in a similar situation tomorrow, we can't let the same thing happen. But it's all there for us. We're in good shape. I think the back to back 4-0 wins at home against Motherwell and St Johnstone, we've looked a bit quicker, a bit sharper again after a slight dip around Zagreb, Rangers in the cup final, and Tannadice. It looks like we're starting to go on the uptrend again, and let's hope we can get a brilliant performance tomorrow and a huge win. So let's turn our attention then to the starting lineup. There's obviously a few areas of the team that I've got lots of debate and lots of headaches for the manager. There's players vying for jerseys everywhere you look, which is really good. I'm sure that's something the manager relishes. That's something that he's also worked towards with the rotation that he's done throughout this month. I think it's been really difficult to predict the team because he's been making so many changes and he's been bringing guys out and putting some fringe. Well, there's no fringe players really. They're all squad players and everybody's contributing. But the guys who would usually start on the bench have been coming in for starts, and there's been 3 or 4 changes game to game. So it's been really hard to pinpoint the lineup the manager's going to go with, and that's the case tomorrow as well. Because as I say, there's a few positions on the pitch where it's not clear who will get the nod. The one position that is clear for us is in goals. Kasper Schmeichel will obviously play there. He was a hero in the cup final, saving that penalty from Yilmaz. So hopefully, if needed, he can have another big performance for us tomorrow. And the back four, I'm going Johnson at right back. Huge boost for us that he's back. Good to get those minutes into him against St Johnstone, just so that he's sharp and he's up to speed and he's not coming in cold from a couple of games out at Ibrox tomorrow. Centre half pairing, Carter Vickers. We'll maybe talk later on this week about the transfer speculation surrounding Carter Vickers. Bayer Leverkusen have been linked with a move for him. He's obviously a huge player for us, and he's obviously going to start tomorrow. And I think Liam Scales is going to play beside him. If you go back to the cup final, it looked like we were really set in the first choice pairing, if you like, becoming Carter Vickers and Trusty. But that sub at half time, bringing Trusty off, putting Scales on. Brendan Rodgers saying that he wanted to clean up the passing going forward, and that Scales did that for us. He hasn't come out the team since then, and I don't see any scenario where Trusty's going to start tomorrow. As Kenny said in the post-match pint, I think if Trusty was going to start tomorrow, he would have played some part or maybe even started the game against St Johnstone on Sunday. So I think it's going to be Carter Vickers and Scales. Been there and done it last season. Let's hope for a big performance from them at left back. That is one of those key areas where the manager's got a decision to make. It has been for most of this season. The contract situation surrounding Greg Taylor has now moved into the next phase where he can now talk to other clubs, and he's been linked with a move to Dinamo Zagreb as well. They're interested in getting him on a pre-contract, but also the speculation is that they might want to get him in January as well. So those sort of rumours and speculation are going to come thick and fast now with Taylor, because we've reached the 6 month mark and he can now talk to other clubs and sign pre-contracts. That's going to happen. He didn't start against St Johnstone at the weekend. I thought Valle was very good. And if you think back to the cup final, Greg Taylor didn't perform brilliantly on the day. He did get the equaliser for us, but he makes the poor pass that leads to the first Rangers goal, and made the big let off with the 4-on-1 situation, which again was a Taylor mistake turning the ball over. So it wasn't his best performance in the cup final. Having said that, I think you could toss a coin, and I feel like for experience in the fixture and for experience playing at Ibrox, I think the manager is going to go with Greg Taylor. I would like to see Valle start, don't get me wrong, I really would, but I think Greg Taylor is just going to get the nod ahead of him. It's going to be interesting to see what the manager's tweaks are in terms of trying to play through Rangers, because I would expect Rangers to set up the exact same way they did in the cup final, in that mid-press on the halfway line, trying to restrict the space for us to play through them. The manager's going to have some tweaks to help the players get through that, to help them find the space, to play a bit quicker. And Taylor coming inside the pitch that day didn't really help us. That congested the central areas and actually led to the mistake for Rangers' first goal. So I think Taylor will get the nod. I would like to see Valle, but you can let me know in the comments who you think will start at left back, who you think will start and who you think should start. Let us know in the comments below. Midfield's another one. Key area for us. Lots of players playing well, competing for places. Callum McGregor will captain the side, obviously. I'm going to go with Hatate. I think when you think about the pecking order, I think Hatate is just ahead of Bernardo and Engels. So when you think about these two positions, that there's three players to go into, Engels, Bernardo and Hatate, I think Hatate is just ahead of Bernardo and Engels in Brendan Rodgers' mind. Now, Engels has played really well. He's had back-to-back Man of the Match awards in these home victories over Motherwell and St Johnstone. You can tell he's looking a bit better. He's looking sharper again. I think that assist for Kyogo's second goal at the weekend was sublime. His technical ability and the way he strikes the ball is a real asset for him. It's a real asset for us as well. His set-piece delivery has been excellent since he arrived at the club. He's taken penalties very well for us. But on the flip side, you've got Paulo Bernardo, who I have to say barely puts a foot wrong. Every time I watch Bernardo, I'm impressed by him. He's a real all-rounder. I think he's got great running ability. He's good against the ball. He can win it back. He can put a bit of bite into his tackles. I think he's a great player, and you see on Sunday as well the technical ability to just slide Maeda in for the fourth goal with the outside of his foot. So he's got that passing range as well. He's got the vision. I think he's a great player, Paulo Bernardo, and honestly, it's the toss of a coin between him and Engels. I think going into this game, I've just gone with Engels. It could be either of them, and I would like to see it be Bernardo as well. I just feel like it might be Engels. Bernardo was on the bench at Tannadice. I think he played in McGregor's position in that deeper sort of sixth position on Sunday against St Johnstone. So purely on that basis, I'm going to say that McGregor will replace Bernardo and Hatate and Engels will stay in those sort of 8 positions. There's no doubt Bernardo will play a key role in the game. I expect him to get at least half an hour, and he'll be a big player for us off the bench when we need him. Now it could be Bernardo starting, and if you flip that, I would say the same for Engels. Engels, if he's on the bench, will play a big part in the game, and these are good problems for the manager to have, but I'm just going to go Engels. And again, if you disagree, let me know in the comments below. Front three, probably the only area of the team that I think picks itself. Kuhn on the right hand side, Maeda on the left hand side, who's terrorised Rangers for a long time now. 3 goals in his last 5 appearances against them. A brilliant goal in the cup final as well. Just the original Daizen Maeda goal, that was the pressing to win it back, and then it looked a bit chaotic and he manages to control it, and it's a brilliant finish, and he's getting better at that. He's adding more goals to his game, and in this fixture he has become a massive player for us, so I'm hoping for another big performance from him tomorrow. And I know this isn't the case for most of you guys, but I think it's also clear that Kyogo can and should start through the middle for us. His record in the fixture has been incredible. He gets 2 goals at the weekend, which should do his confidence the world of good. If he's up against an injury-plagued Rangers backline as well, the pace of the 3 of those, Kuhn, Kyogo, Maeda, should cause Rangers real problems. Is it going to be Sterling at right back? Is Balogun going to make it? It looks touch and go for him. So it could be Balogun and Proper, or it could be King and Proper. And Rangers have had real problems defensively in the last couple of weeks. We know that Kuhn, the early second half in the cup final, he absolutely killed Jefty to the point where shortly after Celtic's equaliser and second goal, I think it was the second goal actually, Clement took Jefty off and brought Yilmaz on because he just could not live with Nicholas Kuhn. So if we can start the game well, start with a good tempo and feed the ball to Kuhn early doors and get him driving at the Rangers defence, I think we can make it a really difficult afternoon for them. But there you go. That's 11 I think the manager will go with. As I say, there's a lots of key areas in the pitch where positions are up for grabs and there's players vying for places. You can let me know who you would go with in those key areas in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you tomorrow after the game with the full-time reaction. Thank you.